Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Wonderful. And who's speaking? Hello?
This is Tyrone.
Tyrone, how are you doing? Are you on video or am I just not getting the feed?
I didn't download the application. I'm just calling in.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I just wanted
Yeah.
to make sure that I'm connected all right. And let's see, there are two participants. Who are the other ones?
Oh, it's a small group. Let me mute myself for now.
Oh, just you. Okay. Maybe it's just you and me because it says
Uh, uh,
participants too.
oh, well, I guess nobody want to know office time with the professor.
I feel rejected. That's okay. If you have the time, then let's chat. What's your?
Okay.
I have this recording, by the way, so just to archive it for your information.
Okay.
And I have it scheduled till for 90 minutes, but we don't have to go that full length of time if you have something to do.
I'm
But I
I'm
would.
working right now. Actually,
Pardon me? I'm
I'm
sorry.
working right now. Actually, I'm a FedEx driver.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm working and listening. That's what I usually do.
All right. So, well, let me know if you have to make a delivery, whatever it might be. I don't want to interfere with your work. So, Tyrone,
Nah, nah.
what's your initial reaction with the festivities today at the Capitol?
Well, I for one did not watch it because I'm not interested because I don't really see him as a legitimate president. And the whole thing has just been just dishonest. That's the best way to put it. Just dishonest.
Okay. And Tyrone, we're joined with another person, and the audio is connected. So Zoom is working,
Well, good.
and we'll be connected momentarily. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, is my sound working?
Yes, perfect. Let me introduce you to Tyrone. He's calling from the road, audio only. And your name is?
I'm Mevio. I live in
Maybe?
Paris.
Oh, okay. Calling all the way from Paris. Thank you very much for joining us. And our numbers will grow. I'm sure I see we're up to 4 participants. Not everybody's on video. And did you watch the festivities in Washington, D.C. today with Joe Biden?
Not too much. I don't feel festive about it, so I didn't watch.
Okay, neither. I confess I didn't either. And I
Honestly,
thought,
even if it had been Trump, I wouldn't have watched. I just don't watch that kind of big thing. I'm more interested in individuals than groups, actually.
oh, I understand. And are you an American national?
Yeah, sure. We've been corresponding a little. I wrote you some letters on Patreon about my
Okay.
experiences in my spiritual past.
Yes, of course. So, well, we'll talk more. I didn't know where you were writing from. That's really interesting. But let me ask all the participants, when you're not talking, to mute the microphone so that we reduce the noise. So when the noise comes in, it gates all the other conversations. So when you're not speaking, you're just
Hmm.
listening, just mute it. And I think I have let's see, another person come in. I'm not, this is, oh, we have 5 people. I have to admit people one by one. So if I look distracted, pardon me. And of course, it looks like, is that Jane?
Hi, can you
Are
hear
you Jane
me?
Morgan?
I am Jane Morgan. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
Morgan. All right, Ms. Branson. Welcome to the room. I'm glad we have such a great turnout. And I can't tell you all how happy and pleased and relieved to be amongst friends.
Professor Hamamoto, your link is not working. It's taken a lot of difficulty to get here.
Uh-huh.
The first link in your email said that you had another meeting. I went on to the Patreon page and I pressed on the other link. It said that you had another meeting.
Mhm.
So the only link that works is the one on the main Patreon page.
Okay. Well, thank you for telling me. I'll go with that one there.
Okay,
The
so
main-
just maybe repost your main link to
Oh,
everyone else.
to everyone else. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
okay. I don't want to leave you while I'm doing that. So hopefully
Okay.
they'll be able to figure it out. And
Oh,
there's Greg Lynch. Are you there?
Here,
And am I correct? You have the video turned off?
correct.
Okay, that's an option too. If you don't want to be on camera for whatever reason, you can click off the video. And did you have any problems linking to this meeting, Greg?
Well, I had the same issue. I got an email from you with a meeting number and a passcode, and uh, it said you were already on a meeting. So I went back to your Patreon page and just clicked through the data on there. It was a different meeting number and a different passcode, but that's the one that worked.
Okay, that was just what Jane explained. So thank you very much. I'll be able to do that next time. And there will be a next time next month, or maybe even sooner if people want to chat and commiserate or analyze. But let me go back to Jane briefly. What was your reaction to the events of Capitol Hill, or even before that?
it's the first time I felt sick to my stomach. I still can't believe what's happened. I can't believe it, that truth is not getting through. I should know, because none of my friends here I live in France. I'm from Scotland, but I live in France.
Live in France, me too.
Oh, I'm in Annecy.
You're in Annecy. I'm in Paris. But I sometimes go to Sion to visit my kids in Switzerland. Are you
Okay.
Scottish femme?
Hey, I'm Scottish femme, yes.
Okay, d'accord. And I'm Mevio. That's my
Mivia, nice to meet you.
nice to meet you.
My daughter, I've taken over her bedroom. She's in Sierre,
Oh,
just
really?
next to Sion. Yes.
Boom. We could go together. I'll pick
Hey,
you up on the way.
fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic.
I want to go, but I don't know how to go by train, by plane. I don't know.
Then come down to Annecy by train and we'll drive.
Okay, that's good. I've had my eye on you for years, actually,
Ah,
because I made my videos, and then Harry the Greek thought that I was you because I was in France or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not you. I'm me, but we're together. So this is great to meet you.
fantastic.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Professor
very nice.
Hamamoto, for giving us the opportunity to meet.
Yes.
Hey, gosh, this is great. We're making progress and connecting with each other already.
I grew up in Southern California, so when
Yes.
Professor Hamamoto, you talk about California, I just have so many things to tell you, and I want to write and write and write, but I've already written you a lot, so I think I should give
Oh,
you a break.
no. I'm not that far from Elk Grove. I'm just a little bit north of that. So I know you have experience there as well. So this is what this is about. Because as shocked and as aghast and disheartened as we might be at developments, together we're going to have to try to figure it out and connect. And you two are already well on your way, which is wonderful.
Fantastic.
And
Great.
Greg, where are you connecting from, may I ask? Greg,
I'm Vancouver, BC, and I know Jane because she follows me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Scout, and my chat name is the Mobsterful.
Oh, nice to meet you. Very
Wow.
happy to know you.
Yes.
Likewise.
Same here. It's interesting how we have all these different connections through different platforms.
Yes, and there's another number down at the bottom here,
Another,
a telephone number.
oh, I
Yeah.
don't know about that one. What is that? Is that the one I pasted there?
Or maybe, perhaps.
I'm not sure. I know that Tyrone is, he might have left the chat, but he's calling from the road on the phone. Are you there, Tyrone? You might have to leave. He's
I'm
working.
still here.
Oh, you're still
Ah.
there. Okay. So we're gradually.
Hello from Louisiana.
And you are a
Hi.
Tyrone from Louisiana?
Yeah, we call it the heart of Louisiana where I'm from.
Great. And how are your friends, Tyrone, taking your involvement with this? What I think is a movement, a very strong movement.
I don't know. Most people around here don't like Trump for some reason. You know, like a lot of them. Like I have 2 jobs and I work at this Chinese restaurant, and my coworker actually said that Biden might be okay because he's friends with Obama. You know, but I guess he don't really understand either of those people. You know.
Mhm. Now, by that,
But
it sounds like you were not an Obama fan.
I don't really, to be honest. Trump was I'm a 29, and Trump was the first president I actually would call my president, and they took him out. You know, so that's kind of sad. But you know, Trump don't have that much support amongst the black people that I know, at least around here. You know, some people just say he's a racist, and you know all the things you hear on TV, basically. You know,
Right.
even my mother, she don't hate Trump, but I would say she's falling for the propaganda. You know.
Mhm. Well, one of the issues I'd like to discuss is how we individually and collectively are going to overcome this overwhelming media control. It seems to have been very effective. And I'm glad to see that just the few that are here at this meeting today are already connected on these platforms and already having a conversation. But how do we involve the larger group of people who need to be warned that we're on the brink of, if not already deep into, this really comprehensive system of political control, which was seen with all the troops. I think I read a headline that there were 5,000 guests at the inauguration, but there were 25,000 troops. So the troops outnumbered by far the invited guests. And to me, that is indicative of where we're heading, not just in the US, but perhaps all over the world, because we see similar types of lockdowns going on all over. So my question to the group initially, and you're free to please pose your own questions, but for my own purposes, I'm mystified. How do we go forward to combat this huge behemoth, this mainstream media that are just feeding us outright lies and spinning reality in a way that only favors the oppressors? Any answers? Yes, Jane.
I've been following Lee Wheelbarger. Now he has a YouTube channel called KLW News, I think is, and he's also under inventor Lee Wheelbarger. He's trying to set up his own server. He has a friend that he can get his own server, and I think that's the way to go. Is to have a server that nobody else can interfere with. Because I tried to get onto Gab to join Bill Taylor today, and I'm already a member, and it wouldn't accept my password.
Wow. Well, that's good
Yeah.
about Leo Wheelbarger. Wasn't he deplatformed on YouTube?
He keeps moving channels.
Oh, I see.
Like George.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
hard.
the bouncing ball.
That's
Yeah.
a good strategy. They don't really outright censor you. They deplatform and you just have to kind of follow them around. But Jane, that idea of the server is excellent. And we know that it works because Alex Jones pays, thousands of dollars a month to have his own server, and he's been able to ride through this just barely. Whatever you think about the Alex Jones show, Matt Drudge, before he went away, warned Alex Jones of this time right now, said we're not going to be around. So you better start getting your own infrastructure together. That's what he did. So that's an excellent idea. I hope that works. It might get us a little bit more time because I see that the big tech is going to be really clamping down now that the new administration is in.
Has anybody downloaded Signal? My friend in
Yes.
Australia said to get Signal, and they also have group conversations are possible on Signal.
Oh, I mean like Zoom? Signal?
I don't know. I don't know if they're video chats.
Oh, okay.
But possibly. I haven't used I haven't used that application very much, but already 5 or 7 of my friends are on that application, have that application now. So I have to say this, that my nephew, who's he had serious Tyrone Trump derangement syndrome. And now he has remarked, just when I spoke with him, I had a little exchange with him recently, he can see that his rights are being taken away. So I think that what's happening with the shutdowns is that people are going to look more and more closely at the vaccines and the irrationality of the establishment. And so if I could only speak gently and clearly to my friends who are, ecstatic because Kamala Harris is the vice president. I mean, who is the worst Black woman to be the first Black woman vice president?
Not even Black, eh?
She's not even Black. Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
No,
The problem with Signal, as far as I can see, is that Jack Dorsey has mentioned it as being another platform.
which one?
Oh, it might be his too.
Signal, yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They have so much. Sometimes I wonder if they are just trying to unload people because they don't want to use up their server space, because they have so much useless information on those servers, and they can't manage all that information, can they?
It could be just a practical issue. But now we know Tyrone is 29 years old, but maybe can you tell us how old your nephew is?
Luke is 32.
Okay, they're roughly in the same
Same age bracket. Tyrone. My kids don't like Trump either.
Okay.
No.
Well, one of my kid in Sion. In Sion, they have people with Q T-shirts, in Switzerland,
Oh,
in the mountains. Yeah, they're very. I mean, I think there are a lot of Europeans that know that it was a stolen election. It's so strange because the Americans don't realize, but French people do. I first heard from Pizzagate when I was giving French English conversational classes to French researchers.
Wow.
And there was an embarrassing moment in 2016 where they laughed about a joke somebody made about pizza. I went right home. I looked up pizza. They knew before I did because they're very internet savvy,
Okay.
Yeah.
This is where it's at. I mean, whatever the limitations are, and I appreciate all the different, because I don't know all the different movements of Leo Wheelbarger and the different apps that are coming in, but
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think it's
Lee Wheelbarger is superb. I'll put his name on
I'm gonna look him
the
up.
chat.
Yeah.
He was in the Pentagon in 2001.
Oh,
And what he does is he just gives you information. So he has all these maps and real-time maps and all the webcams. you can see quite a lot in his channel. Now he leaves it running for a long time, so I would imagine most people don't have time to sit and watch. I do. Wheelbit.
Mhm.
That's his name.
Like George at the beginning, remember in
Oh, thank you.
2017?
Oh, it was
you go On
fabulous.
and on, but it was fascinating.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
God. And you were always so
Unfortunately,
happy.
Jason was there too, unfortunately, but he.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Can
Now,
you see the chat there?
yes, I can
Oh,
see it.
I wrote it
McKinney
down.
Wheelbarger. Excellent. I didn't know that
Oh,
feature.
there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Looks like you can also load files, articles and such.
You can share screen. So here in France, everything's closed down. And I used to work in primary schools, 3 primary schools. I was sacked as soon as, because I don't keep my mouth closed.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I got another job, which is, I've got a third of my salary that I used to get. Anyway, what am I saying? Oh yeah, so therefore the solution for my English classes with adults was to download Zoom. I actually pay for Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
So that's
because
good.
it's just easier. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll have to keep that in mind. Yeah, I did, it's free up to, but if you have more than a certain amount of people, just for those of you who are thinking about Zoom, yeah, you're limited to 40 minutes, but I wanted to go as long as we could. I put them limited 90 minutes. And it's pretty reasonable, I found out, because this is
Yeah.
a new platform. It's $15 US per month.
So in actual fact, you have a limitless time. Once
Oh, okay.
you have paid, you can do as many Zoom calls as possible. And the people that you're inviting in do not need to download the app. They
Oh,
just need
okay.
to click on the app, on the link.
See, I'm getting a tutorial here, yeah, obviously, because you use it for your living, to make a living, Zoom, right?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Now, what was the situation of your firing? Was it about certain comments you made about the Trump
Oh.
administration, or what was it?
Oh, just giving my opinion. People don't like to hear a different opinion from what the main media, the mainstream media is giving. And
Mhm,
so they just want to get rid of you so that they don't have to hear it.
mhm.
Mm.
Now,
I've
Tyrone,
actually been sacked from quite a lot of jobs, to be honest.
uh, well, you and me both.
Ah.
Maybe I'll talk about that in another 60-minute monologue. Not because it's me, but it's a sign of the times, right?
Mhm.
And toward that end, do you think now that we have a new administration, that this process of identifying and sacking people that Hillary Clinton has been talking about, do you think that's going to be more rationalized and more pervasive, more systematic, perhaps?
It's a silencing tool, yeah.
Yeah, it's a silencing tool.
Okay. Now, Tyrone, have you had any problems with on the job with Federal Express?
With regards to what?
With regards to your opinions on current events or certain individuals, or do you chat with anybody at work?
To be honest, I don't really talk to people at my job. Just the people that's in my near area, I kind of keep to myself. But I talk to my customers on my route, and most of them actually are Trump supporters. So, but one day, I think in mid-December, it was sometime before the election, they told us not to talk to our customers about election-related stuff, which I thought was kind of ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But for the
Wow.
most part, not really.
Okay.
Not really allowed me to speak in my mind. Maybe people are just afraid to, counteract me on it.
Okay.
But no,
Well,
not really.
that's good to hear. I guess you don't have to. You're not working in an office environment, so you're less likely to let something slip, right? As to who you really are and what's really on your mind. Now, Greg.
Sometimes it's better off that way.
I think so. I think so as well. I was in the classroom a lot, so what I taught is what I was going on in my head. So I was always in trouble as well. How about Greg Lynch? Are you working right now, Greg?
I am, yes. Um, our office is maybe 5 or 10% staffed. Everybody's, the rest of the people are working remotely. So the office is pretty empty these days.
And are you working remotely as well, or are you one of the lucky 5–10% that has a physical office space?
Well, I do both. I only live about 2.5 blocks from the office. So I've been working at home maybe 90% of the time. But I don't have a printer here at home. So, you know, if I need to print stuff off or whatever, I go in and I can go back and forth. So it's easy from that point of view.
Mm-hmm. And if I may ask, what line of work are you in?
I manage money for individuals.
Okay. Does anybody have a question about finance? You have an expert right here in the chat room.
I don't have much
need
Do you
your
think the
service.
derivatives bubble is going to pop?
Greg?
Well, all
We
I
should
can
use the
say
raise
is
hand feature.
something's going to blow, and this series of events has just exasperated it. How it all ends, I don't know, but I would say the last 20 years, I've noticed a rise in corruption, which is a concern, and we're at this point where, you know, everybody here knows what I'm talking about. You know, they say black is white and up is down, and the finance world's no different. So something's going to happen, and it won't be good.
Now, I know in Canada, the Commonwealth, as well as the US up until recently, there's a very strong, at least in the post-war period, system of corporate or public employee pension funds. What is your take in general, without getting specific, Greg, about pensions, employee?
Well, I think this is something that's going to happen in Biden's term. In this country, most of the pension plans are fairly well funded. That's not the case in the U.S., and especially at the state and municipal level. And they've been kicking the can down the road forever on this. Like, there's some states, like I think it's Kentucky, where their state or pension plan is 12% funded, meaning they haven't been willing to bite the bullet and increase local taxes to fund the pension plans adequately, and hence there's going to be a financial blow up, and it's probably the pension plans that it's all going to come home to roost, and I'd be surprised if it's not within the next 4 years. And then you're going to have competing interests asking for a federal bailout.
Mhm. Wow. And Jane and Navia, both of you are living in France. And my perception, it might be wrong, is that public finance is typically very strong because of the socialist tradition. Am I right? Or is it also in jeopardy like the US?
I know nothing about this subject. My husband works in Geneva, so we're quite well off
Okay.
because he works in Geneva.
Mhm.
But really, I can't talk on this subject. I hate thinking about that.
Okay, we have another person coming in. Wonderful.
Ooh.
Well, that intel about Geneva is good because I'm always asking people around the world or wherever I visit, what would it be like for me living here as an expat? So do you recommend Geneva?
You will earn a lot of money.
Okay, that's all I need. I might be able to, I'm on a pension plan. I'm on the US Social Security too. And both those are two, I think, Greg would readily agree with me. They're endangered.
Especially California.
California, you're
Managed,
well,
yeah.
well acquainted. And maybe, how about yourself? Any perceptions about public finance, public health, let's say, in the
Well, like Jane, my situation is quite comfortable.
okay.
I think salaries and expectations seem to be lower. There's a lot of stability, so people have lower income, but they're careful with their income. I mean, it's a good standard of living. I mean, like you can get really the best bread in the world, so
Yes.
why go anywhere, So,
Yeah.
but still, there are a lot of. I work with refugees sometimes with an association, and it's very heartbreaking. A lot of people come from Africa, from the Middle East, from Afghanistan, and I don't know how they manage. I know the government gives them some help systematically, but it's not enough to really live the way they would like. Although they get here, they want to have more babies. The French don't have babies. The refugees want to have more babies, and my daughter-in-law and my friends, they say, well, how can they want to have more babies? But they feel like they're in a peaceful paradise when they come here, even if they don't have as much money as the French people do. So it's an interesting situation.
Wow.
I'm all for it. I'm pro baby.
So
Yes.
am I.
Yeah.
Same here. We need more of them.
Yeah.
And there's a war of them against them right now.
There's a war. There's a war against the
yeah.
family.
Yeah, definitely a campaign. And we have someone joining us. I don't have the name, just a number. And would you introduce yourself? Someone just joined the line here, or the discussion?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, I only see a number here. What is your name, please?
The 2070? I thought I might be muted.
No,
Aaron.
we can hear you.
Aaron, hi. Aaron from Michigan.
Oh, hey, it's Aaron. It's the Aaron.
One of the George Webb.
The Aaron.
Yeah.
The Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
His network.
We have a celeb in the house.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say one of the George Webb maniacs.
We all are.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go, right?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of George Webb, did you watch his show this morning with Macduff, John O'Loughlin?
Yeah, well, John was only there a few minutes, and then they let Wes and Addie steal the show there, basically.
Right.
And they couldn't get through to DC.
Yeah, it's no surprise.
Yeah, I guess so. I was disappointed though.
Now, what did you think of George's assessment about the whole green zone analogy? That is what they had in Iraq, where there's a compound where people are confined both in and outside.
Absolutely, that's the program. Here we go. It'll really be interesting if it rolls out in the 85 cities like he was saying it would. But so far we're this far down the road. I guess it doesn't seem implausible anymore. But
there's going to be pushback though. If the more that there's pushback, the less easy it's going to be for them to do this. Have you guys heard about the Freedom Airlines? Catherine Aston Fitz, and it's on James Corbett. Yesterday he posted a thing about this because people should be able to travel whether they get a vaccination or not. So they're creating free zones. We're going to have our autonomous zones. So we'll have to have a flight to Temperance, Michigan.
I like that.
Yes.
That's where Aaron is.
Or we could all go to Ghana. I'll tell you, George.
Jane and I are halfway there.
Yes.
I the poor guy, he's going in every direction. And then, he meets my crazy ass. And then it's like, oh, by the way, I have a whole beach resort in Africa. And then he thinks it's cool. And now here we are. But it's like, what's that?
He totally wants to come to Africa.
Yeah, but it's like, then you've got these detractors, like, Crustacean Farm or whatever, I don't know. Whatever, we won't say his name, right? We've got all these jerks who, want action and want it now, It's like I met George 6 months ago. The guy's got to, go to Africa and, you know, give thousands of dollars immediately in the midst of coronavirus, or else it's not good enough. You know, it's just like, it's insane. You know, I mean, like, yes, he wants to come. I don't know that it'll happen right away, but then again, like, who can just go to Africa right away? That's not a normal thing. So it's like, I feel bad. I kept telling him, I'm like, George, you know, you're going to talk about it and it's going to be great, but then you're going to get all the people saying that, oh, you're just using it for, you know, to use it, right? Because that's what they say. And it's okay. I should not take it, you know, I shouldn't anymore. He doesn't worry. I shouldn't worry, right? But we would
Aaron,
love to get him there. Certainly.
I tried to send my my cousin's daughter to the news network because she needed a volunteer thing to do. I don't know if she's going to contact you. I don't think so. She's Mormon, so they usually stay, you know, they're pretty much in their little world, but it would be really
Yeah,
cool
it's
if
like
she came and helped. You could put her to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
I mean,
you know,
we still, you know, we're squeezing a juice out of a turnip in Temperance, Michigan, which is good. That was the whole point of like trying to do it and make it all work. But I don't blame anybody for not wanting to pick up and move to Temperance, Michigan, you know.
I wanted to
You know,
come
a little
over,
in the
but it
middle.
was locked down and I had my grandkids and it was just not possible.
Yeah. But Dr. Hamamoto, can I ask you a question? I left you a message the other day. I don't know if you got it.
I might have, yeah, but please ask now, and maybe others will benefit from the answer.
Well, so as I try to, you know, just help George move the ball forward, you know, and everything, and in the discussion time that I have with him, I've tried to talk to him about, you know, starting his own show, right? You know, the quote unquote the George Webb show, and I think I've got him pretty well excited and interested in doing that, and we were going to start it next week. I think it'll probably be 2 weeks at this point. But, you know, like what I've been telling him is like, instead of worrying about the platforms and just worrying about everything, it's just like do 3 hours a day, you know, and he doesn't have to do the full 3 hours, but it's like, you know, you got the Rick Santelli show, the Tori Says show, Rush Limbaugh, you know, there's 15 million people a day listening to Rush Limbaugh. It's like, I've been trying to tell him he should just worry about his show, and then we'll put it on every platform in the world, you know. And he wants to do it, and I'm sort of trying to farm out the various, you know, guest hours, you know, like we were going to have a guest host in the final hour, kind of in the way that you could say Alex Jones, he has a guest host, you know, every fourth hour, right? He always has a guest host do that. So I kind of was like, George, you don't even have to host your third hour every day. You know, you can rotate your inner circle through. So certainly you're the inner circle. Any spot you want, you know, just let me know. We're going to try to go Monday through Friday. We're going to try to go Monday through Friday. What I really told him, I guess, to give you the inner speech that I gave him was like, George, you need to go 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. every day and go up against Sean Hannity, because that's the Sean Hannity radio spot. I was like, you know, and you can get the California audience in there. You know, it's a little later in the day for everyone to get warmed up. And I was like, you don't want to go too late and go against Mark Levin. You don't want to go too early and go against Rush Limbaugh and Alex Jones, etc. And it's like, so, and he likes it. So we're thinking 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern, which would be 12 to 3 your time, Monday through Friday. So, you know,
the inside scoop.
This is, well, I mean, it's whatever you want to call it. It's turning a dream into a reality. But I think, you know, so it's not going to be called the George Webb Show, because George wouldn't want that, even though that's what I keep saying to him. And it's like, George, you got to do the heavy lifting, you know, like we'll all be on your level soon enough. But but until we are, you got to know that it's kind of the George Webb Show, you know, and we'll get all your different people cycled in to promote, you know, the work and all that. But he's got to be, you know, yeah.
Aaron, do you think that he might have cold feet about something like this because he's been deplatformed so many times?
No, I think I think the deplatforming is what got him to finally be like after the third channel got axed. We actually were hanging out in Gettysburg. Coincidentally, I don't hang out with George very often. It was like we all met up coincidentally when they axed the third channel, and he was like, "Let's do it." He's like, "I'm so tired of this, getting bicycled all over the place." And it's like, yeah, I mean, why does he need to worry about the platform? Like, does Rush Limbaugh wake up every morning and worry about if he's on 300 platforms or 301 platforms, or, I mean, let George worry about the quality of his content, and someone else can get him on all the platforms. And if you have YouTube one day and not the next, then oh well. But he's excited. He wants to do it. He's just George, and they're over in DC having a great time and, doing all the things. I don't know if they're having a great time, maybe a miserable time. But they're doing their work in DC, and he's just absorbed in that. And I'm here in Michigan trying to, get the show, be the unofficial producer, I guess. But definitely Dr. Hamamoto. I mean, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Mondays, Wednesdays, or Friday slot. I don't know. I mean, you should definitely host a third. We the whole thing with George is going to be like, he'll go away for the third hour, right? It'll always be a guest host. You or Addie or any person that he would like to guest host. So certainly you would be a ideal guest host for one or two or however many. Probably two would be perfect. I don't know, but
now,
think about it, remunerate on it. I'll email you and think about the days at work. You can have dibs at this point.
All right. Now, Aaron, Aaron, fortuitously, just before you called, Jane was talking about Lee Wheelbarger seeking out his own server, so he'll eliminate that deplatform issue. Is that something that you're looking into?
Yeah, actually, I've been hearing Lee talk about it, and I mean, I'd love to jump on to Lee's. I even looked at them myself. There's a $10,000 version, and then there's a $100,000 version, which I expect Lee's probably doing the $100,000 version. I mean, I don't know.
Lee's got a friend, Aaron. He has a friend, and he said, don't quote me, but I think he said 4,000.
Wow.
Don't quote me. I might be wrong.
Well, that's cheap. Jeez, all right.
Yes.
Well, because
he's going big.
I don't know.
Okay, let me ask the group here. Are we all in agreement? We're all prejudiced, but are we all in agreement that George Webb has the Sean Hannity type talent to pull that off?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Sean Hannity's nothing.
He's better than Sean Hannity.
Oh.
All right. I'll communicate that tomorrow. That's the consensus.
Yeah.
That he's
not
just
I'll
as
let him
good
know.
but better.
Yeah, I forgot.
George is better because he doesn't have a script.
Yeah.
And he's got really amazing information.
He's got it all up here too.
Yeah.
It's all up here.
What you think, like, does Sean Hannity think? I mean, honestly, I don't know.
No.
I don't watch him.
But he's got the audience, and yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Aaron, I think you got a winner here.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, it's I don't know if you guys know Tracy Connors.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
I had a great conversation with Tracy, and she is like, I was like, Tracy, I'm gonna be the Tracy Connors basically, for $0 to start, because we're making this into a thing, right? So I'll be the unofficial producer, but I'm gonna want her help. And she has this funny story she tells about this show she used to do with Hulk Hogan and a bunch of midgets, and how she had to like coordinate this group of midgets and Hulk Hogan and like get them to be on camera and perform, when it was time to perform. It's like as if Hulk Hogan and the midgets are going to pay attention to the clock. And, and it's like, so George is Hulk Hogan, and we can all be, she understood. She liked the metaphor, but, George is great. And that's what I want to help him with. Like, I don't know that he's going to make his own 3-hour show for himself. Yeah. But I know that if we can make it work and say, all right, Joe, lights, camera, or George, lights, camera, action, and then, you know, he jumps in and goes for it, and the rest of us are there to support. Like, I think it'll be great. And, I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, let's see, Dr. Hamamoto, though, you know, I mean, we got to get you your spot, you know, because George's whole thing, he really doesn't want it to be all about him. He's so humble. He wants it to be about everyone. You know, and we all just know that he's our Michael Jordan or our Tom Brady, right? So,
Well,
I
Aaron,
don't know
it's
if that metaphor
fortuitous.
makes sense.
Aaron, it's fortuitous that you called in because I am looking for a platform outside of YouTube. It's not very satisfying and it's not really adequate for my purposes. So we'll talk about it, but more specifically, I wanted to sort of recreate some of the old school late night call-in shows because I think people really want to talk right now. And I would be the person taking the calls and letting people
Yep.
burden themselves through this crisis that we're doing. And it would be late night. It would be very low key and quite a different mood and tempo from what, let's say, is going on during the daytime, like in a newsroom situation. So that would be a good complement to a larger lineup, I think,
Yeah.
envisioning. So we'll talk more about that.
I'll email you. I got your email and everything, but
Okay.
you know, you're
please
part of the team. You made this. I mean, you added a lot when you guys started going on Thursday nights. It really.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's all been magic.
Well, you
Nice
notice
having
that,
that
there's another
systematic
show
every week.
that's budded into that, and it's called the George and John Show, right? I think it's on Mondays or Saturday. It's like they have a duo now. I think it's become a show in itself.
Well, they go Saturdays and Tuesdays, but I mean, I don't know. You guys are special. Thursday nights, I'm sure all of us are always there on Thursday at 8, you know. I am.
We
That's for
stay
sure.
up late for it.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's wonderful, and I think the relationship there between the three works quite well. That's what I'm told, at least. I enjoy myself tremendously. So thank you.
So do your audience.
Now, Tyrone, do you have ambitions of breaking into news, analysis, entertainment, media? Are you there with us?
I'm still here.
Okay, do you have ambitions of, I mean, you know, there's no barrier for entrance in citizen journalism or citizen entertainment. So have you as well harbored even slightly an idea that you would like to move into this field while still keeping your day job, of course?
It'd be easy to do if I had a different job because, you know, researching takes a lot of time, you know, a lot of recording things, but I kind of do my own little research, but nothing on the level that y'all do, you know.
Okay, well.
Is this the famous Tyrone subject? This is Tyrone from the chat?
Yes.
This is that Tyrone.
Hey, man, you're part of the team. What are
voice.
you talking about?
Yeah,
You're already on the
I've been meaning to email you.
At this point. We love you.
Okay, well, I appreciate it.
Well, Aaron, is there I'm sure there's going to be positions opening up for production, right, behind the camera?
Sure. Hey, I mean, absolutely. I'm more. If we come down, or if George comes down and does the New Orleans tour, are you going to visit?
Of course, I'll take a day off to come see George.
You well, because he's been talking. I mean, New Orleans is like the center of it all, and you're right there, right? Aren't you in Louisiana?
I'm in a place called Sinlaw, so I'm right in the middle of Louisiana. But it's like a 4-hour drive from where I'm at.
Okay, could you say
that's a trek.
The township? Where are you again, Tyrone?
It's Alexandria.
Alexandria. Okay, I'll look it up on the map. So, but you're 4 hours out of New Orleans. Okay.
Maybe 4.5 if you go to speed limit.
Okay, we'll let George know that there's a Tyrone out there who would be willing to drive 4.5 hours to attend a book signing.
I'll put some money up too.
Okay. Well, that is
Well,
a
I'll tell you, New
wonderful-
Orleans is the story, man. New Orleans, it's all about New Orleans. Who knew, right? I guess some people knew.
Yes. And Greg, see, everybody here has something to add to the soup pot here, the kettle. Greg, do you know, I don't know what area of finance you're in, whether it's corporate or personal finance, consumer loans, but do you know any investor angels who would like to put some money into this project? It's going to be a moneymaker, I can tell.
Well, a good idea always attracts interested parties, but you got to move the ball down the road a little further before you can start soliciting startup funds and that type of thing.
Okay, now Greg, what does Aaron have to do as the executive producer in order to attract the attention of the big time investors?
Just scale up what he's been doing. I mean, it's really been impressive watching these guys come up with ingenious solutions to the whack-a-mole that they've been facing all the way through. So, and it starts, I guess, with a passion. And, George is a one of a kind, having seen him face to face. I went to the charrette in March, and because I've been watching him for 3.5 years, and I just wanted to see if this guy is for real. And it's rare in life when you meet a hero and you come away after a week more impressed than when you went in, because I was pretty impressed. And I'm a real cynic, and I'm not easily impressed. So everything that Aaron and those guys have done has just been fantastic. So I can't really give any advice as to how to proceed, other than I think the idea is a good one.
My big plan is to just do it like 30 days in a row. I don't even want $1. It's like, I want to make sure Addy Ads and George and those guys can be on time and punctual. That's my biggest concern right now. Like, that's why the Hulk Hogan and midgets metaphor.
That's
it's
what
just
Professor
like,
Hamamoto
let's just
did
make sure that
every day.
for 30 days or 10 days that we can just do this every day, the same time, and then we can be like, hey, look at this. We do this every day. Now you can rely on our ability to do it every day, just like this. And so that's the focus is, because it's like everybody just sleeps and goes wherever they want, whenever they want. And I shouldn't say sleeps all the time, but they sleep when they want, go when they want. It's like nobody's used a clock or a schedule for a while. So this is my concern. I don't know that it's going to happen, because it's like, everybody wants to be a free bird, and the 24 hours of the day are restrictive in their way sometimes to some. So
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think the field's going to really thin out. I've been watching Wilberger for the last 2 weeks. But when it came to crunch time, he was wrong. George was right. And there's not really a need for the 5-hour Wilberger setup. Whereas there is a need for George, because he's really the only guy who consistently over the last 4 years has been right on every single subject. And he kind of spawns his message, while the viewership may not seem like it. He has been the only guy who's been spot on for 4 years. So his analysis skills are par excellence. And he's the big dog, if you ask me.
I agree.
There you go, Aaron. Your idea is brilliant. Just go on a regular schedule, just like the so-called pros at Fox or CNN, so that the viewer knows Monday through Friday that George is going to be on from during this time window.
Hey, we're not reinventing the wheel here, right? This is, I mean,
No,
everybody, every famous person has their show. It's the real question's going to be, how do we get George's name on there to make him happy? I keep saying, is it featuring George Webb, presenting George Webb, starring George Webb? So we'll see. We've been talking. We even have a little meeting tomorrow to discuss the name that will feel the most inclusive and also promotional of his brand that he's created. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he'll be the next Rush Limbaugh before we know it, I think.
Well, if you
Could you-
push the metadata analysis, that's George Webb is metadata analysis. You say metadata analysis, what do you think of? You think of George Webb. So for him, that's what he does. That's what he is. So I think that would work because it puts the emphasis on the metadata analysis, and what it does is it inspires us to go find more metadata. Because if he's going to be talking for 2 or 3 hours a day, he's going to need more information.
right. And of course, that, as you're alluding to, makes space for the citizen journalists and researchers who are part of that support team providing factual information, metadata. Now, Aaron, just on that, just very quickly, can you put in the title like the Meta News Show with George Webb? Put meta in there. That's a key. Meta, META.
Well, here, you
could
want me to
have-
tell you the name that I actually incorporated in case he wants to go with it? I'll test you guys this out, and you guys too. The research revival.
Ooh.
Research revival. How about meta research revival?
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Aaron's biblical roots.
Kind of long.
Revival.
Revival, yeah.
Well, it could be a secular revival, but it's a little bit of a
You could have
jab.
Creedence Clearwater singing. Yeah, that'd be very cool.
Okay.
We'll see. George is a star. We've given him a few options. He was like, just make it Neighborhood News Hour. But I'll come up with a meta one too. I think after today, he'll be in the mindset to really embrace this, because it was him. I'd been telling him this for a while back in August or September. I told him, George, I think you deserve your own show, blah blah blah. And it was months before he was ready, and he kind of told me he's ready now, and that's why I've been moving on it. So we'll see. Definitely all names. I don't know. I guess Doctor, throw it in the conversation tomorrow, and maybe the live chat will come up with the miracle name. Tell them that I jumped on your conference call and was mentioning the George Webb show and how we need a good name. I don't know. But I think it's gonna be good. I'm just a devoted fan from the live chat who got to skip to the front of the line because he came and hung out with me, and one thing leads to another, and I just want to make sure we do justice to the info and all the good stuff. So,
Jane just put in the chat, she's a languages teacher. She put the metadata web.
With double B.
Yeah, oh yeah, as in George. I like it visually and conceptually. Yeah.
I'll write it down, and
okay, it's
we will see
on the side. But Aaron, the feeling I get, and I don't think it's false modesty, but as we all know and love, George does not like to be put out in the front and doesn't want to be a star of any sort. So I feel that we have to draft him into this job. So we'll.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
Pardon me?
That is what it is.
Yeah.
I understand why he doesn't want to be the star, because it's about the information. It's about the metadata. It's about the information that we all need to know. He's just delivering it. So I totally understand why he does not want to be a star figure.
Right. And this will be the contribution to broadcasting history.
Well, and that's why having the guest host having yourself and maybe John and others who can commit to a part of the schedule and are excited, like, hey, I want Thursdays or I want Tuesdays. That will get George pumped also, like he'll be like, okay, he'll know he's not doing the whole thing and that it's a team effort and he's the quarterback,
Well, in that case, Aaron, I will commit to that. No, when you put
you pick your day, you get dibs. Addy Ads doesn't get to pick before you.
All right, well, tell George I'm in, and I'll go into the slot, that regular slot, commit to it, so that we'll be on that schedule every day, Monday through Friday, so the viewer knows what.
Yep.
I will commit to that.
Excellent.
Yep. So we'll talk slots later. We'll do the slot divvying up later for everybody.
Just let him know that I'm in, because that'll help him to say, okay, I'm drafted into this, and he has some support, and I can do it. And I have part of doing my own Tuesday, Thursday shows, and I was doing a daily show starting on Christmas Eve, is to establish the rhythm and the regularity and the schedule for myself, right? Because I have a tendency to kind of hang out in my own personal mental charrette, so I know what that's like. But I discipline myself, so and I'm back okay with that. Regimentation, if you want to call it, the schedule, the regular schedule.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I have 4 children and a day job. It's just the only way I can roll. So that's why these guys kind of get annoyed with me sometimes, because I'm like Mr. Regiment. It's just, I got a whole world going on, but it's good. It always helps to make things more professional.
I think Tyrone
You need that one guy to keep everybody in
once in a
line.
while, because he's got a great voice.
He does.
Oh,
Not
and
be too
a
embarrassed.
great laugh.
Yeah. You got to hit those.
I know this unrelated, but
yeah. Go ahead, Tyrone. Yeah.
I was gonna say I know this unrelated, but they voted me best laugh in high school.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Told ya.
Well, you got a lot of large talent pool, Aaron.
Oh my God! I the 1,000 Pieces researchers. That's what that's what we are, right? The 1,000 Pieces research crew, or what or just the Osprey Nation, right? I mean,
that's another.
It's pretty exciting.
That's another label there. You just hit upon 1,000
Yeah,
researchers, or put a number on it.
Well, the 1,000 pieces that John always says. I think we should find a way to use that.
Wow.
For sure.
That's brilliant.
Just the CIA thing. I mean,
yes,
it's all about. It's just what it's about, right? I mean, they run the world. We're just living in it.
But those pieces that John F. Kennedy wanted to shatter, right? These are regrowing. They're not just garbage. They're just thrown away. They're regenerating, reviving. These pieces are. Are you there, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, I've learned a lot. I'll tell you, to think about what I thought I knew before I found John and George.
Okay.
It's crazy. It's the CIA runs our lives. We just, what are we gonna do? Pull for black and the team. I can't believe it.
Can I throw out a question here? Does it bother any of you that we're not getting any justice anywhere? We're not seeing the justice system or just metaphysical justice being realized, and it leaves a huge gap or a hole in my emotional makeup, if you want to put it that way. I want some sort of, I use the word with George, catharsis, right? The Greek word catharsis, but I'm not, it's just all build, but there's no release. And I know that a lot of people are frustrated that there's no sort of arrest scheme happening, or no one's being called to account on it. So my question to everybody here in the chat room is, how do we live with that fact of life, is that we might not see that happen anytime soon, at least? That's what I'm having difficulty grappling with.
Yeah, you and me both. This is the big thing. And it ain't going to change for the next 4 years, unless it's very hard to govern 78 million people who've just been robbed, and so we're not going to get justice. It has to be a ground up movement, and there's already the 75 million people who voted for Trump, but it's going to be the other 50 million who didn't, who are going to change their minds bit by bit, and partly that'll be as a response of mistakes or what the deep state decides to do. But that process is sped up by what we do. And, Aaron's idea is the best thing to get up and running as soon as possible. You'll see a lot of Democrats over time come onto our side because of what's going to happen. But yeah, the lack of justice is the most depressing thing I've had to deal with for the last number of years.
Same here. Well put, Greg. And Jane has a comment. Jane?
Yeah, today was really, I felt physically sick. I couldn't speak to my husband. The problem for me is that there is nobody here where I live who liked Trump. And even before Trump, the reason I started watching George Webb in 2015, 2016, I think December, I actually put him to the side because I thought, okay, he's way above my head. I have no idea what this guy is talking about. I'll just continue to do my research on 9/11 here. However, there came a time when his videos were stopped. And of course, when he came back on, I jumped onto it to find out why was he stopped. So I've been watching George Webb since, well, when was that? I think that was before Trump came in. Would that be right? Has anybody else been?
He started like in November of 2016, just after the election. So yeah.
No, he was there before, because it was when WikiLeaks dropped Hillary Clinton's emails, and that was
He was already there in June. Then.
Not in June. He was probably when Trump was definitely going to be the Republican. George came in, so I would say he was there about September, October, November, round about that time. But I didn't start watching him until he got stopped. And then I just watched, I had no idea, and I watched him for about 2 years. When he joined up with Jason, Jason made my skin crawl from the very first time that I saw him, but I gave him a chance because George was with him. So I used to copy all the chat and send it off to Jason, thinking he was a good guy. But that was quite some work because you had to copy, paste. But because I had no other knowledge about anything, I felt at least I was doing something useful.
You learned a lot.
Yeah, but the more you learn, the more you realize that you know nothing. So my problem is that I don't know what is useful and what's not useful. The only reason I know that what I'm doing is useful is when my computer gets taken down. I've had 3 computers taken down.
No.
Yeah, seriously.
Wow.
So when I took my computer to get fixed, the guy said, I don't understand what's happened because it's jumped right through the cable and it's attacked the hard drive or whatever's in there. So it was a real professional job, and that's when I was looking into Adair, the guy that used to put his patients to sleep and have sex with them.
What was that again? I didn't hear
You know
that.
that there was one person that George was talking about. I can't remember his name. Adair. He was a doctor, but I think he was a fake doctor, and he used to put his patients to sleep, and then he would have sex with them. So he was caught for
Oh.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I was looking into that,
Yeah.
that
But
my computer was taken down. So what I would really like is for somebody that's trustable to just come into my computer, have a look at all the things that I've looked at, and say, okay, Jane, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's rubbish. That's good. Because I have no idea, folks. Honestly, I have no idea.
mhm.
If you have them in your computer, you have an idea. It's probably all good stuff.
So I've this week I found a connection between Kolomoisky and a guy from Georgia. And hold on, I'll see if I can find. Oh no, I can't do that. Okay, anyway, I can't get off here to show you. It's some big money guy. Oh, Greg, you might know. Hold on, does this work? Wait, and I'll tell you. What's his name? Sorry, everybody. Talk amongst yourself till I
No,
find
it's
out.
not a problem. We're seeing the research.
I want
Women's
everyone to
turn
go to
in
YouTube
front of
and look
us.
at my videos. I'm going to fix them. They're not good, but they're a beginning.
Okay,
What's your channel?
Videos, I just try to do summaries, just to summarize.
Mhm.
So my new idea is geometric timelines, because you have a time. I want to do, like George always would talk about, pins and yarn. And I wanted to do the pins and yarn because I think you will like this, Professor Hamamoto. I think
Mhm.
there's a magical power of doing the pins and yarn thing, because you have the analogic connection. So that's my idea.
Well, I was talking to a friend precisely about that a couple days ago with the pins.
shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
tie them together. And we were thinking that some of these obelisks in California, where you have a lot of experience, that if we put yarn between the pins, it would probably be a 5-pointed star.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because
What's your YouTube channel?
they have in Place de Concorde in Paris, right? The one that was stolen from Egypt. We have those, Jane, all over, not just the US, but especially in the state of California. Mini obelisks.
Oh yeah.
We have one in Paris too.
Yeah, oh,
They
yeah.
say that Egypt gave it to Napoleon, but who knows?
That's the pattern that they're imitating here when they moved to the California area. They have these smaller scaled down. It's the same proportions, but they use the obelisk. So I think that type of, see, George is not so much, he's into the machine, and I look at the ghost in the machine.
Hmm.
So I want to look at the sacred geometry, the metaphysics, all that part, because I think it's not only fascinating, but I think this is going to be crucial to the takedown of this cabal, right?
That's
And
how they, yeah.
that's, to me, is how now that I think of it, that's how I achieve a sense of justice in an unjust world, is getting this inner information from these esoteric traditions that the people in power have. Huh?
Did you find it?
Yeah, I did. Greg, the first one, just ignore the first one. And anyway, it's been blocked. Excuse me, I smoke. This SEC government archives, it's a huge file, but it's got all the players in it. Okay, all the players. So,
Jane, why don't you, because I follow you on Twitter, are you able to post that link on your Twitter feed, and I can click on it from there? If I'm afraid if I click on anything here, I'm on my phone, I might get disconnected.
I'll do that. Okay. Okay. The problem is I don't like to just post something without having a story behind it. But in order to create the story, I get lost because there's so many different ways that you go, and boof, then I think, okay, maybe it wasn't important.
Or Jane,
It was
Jane,
important.
follow me on Twitter. My Twitter is lost, so I only let researchers in. So if you follow Scout, I'll approve you in, and then you can just DM me on Twitter.
Okay. Scout is just, that's all? Oh yeah, Scout.
Yeah.
I'm already following you.
Oh yes, you are. Okay, just DM
Okay.
me.
Okay, I'll do that. So can I just post the link and then you can have a look at it and say, okay, well, that's not interesting, or yes, it is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scout. Okay. So how do I do that actually? I just take your name and then I post the link, yeah? Like that.
Or
Yeah.
maybe you could put it in the Patreon link, in the Patreon too.
I don't trust Patreon.
No.
I really don't trust it. Does anybody watch, or has anybody watched Quinn Michaels?
No.
I used to watch him.
And oh yeah, was he the one that did the interview with Jason? Quite a
Yeah.
while.
Yes.
He was interesting. He went around looking at those underground projects.
Yeah. So
At the Getty Center, they did a good piece at the Getty Center in California, right?
Kidding.
With the underground
yeah.
tunnels
Yes.
and the magnetrons.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay,
So
why'd you mention him? Yes.
because I didn't really trust him because he arrived just after George. So anyone that arrived just after George, I was a bit suspicious that they were just trying to get the audience away. And then he hooked up with Jason. So, but anyway, he fell out with Jason.
Good man.
Good man. But I watched all of his videos. It appeared, because what I do when I start following someone is I go to the very start and then I watch all the videos. I'm quite easy. No, what's that? Anyway, it's like that. You get to understand who the person is. Yeah, he had gone into something that was called Crunchbase, and he looked at who was funding all of the platforms. And as far as I remember, every single platform was being funded by Musk, or I can't remember. It was 4 years ago. But I think Quinn Michaels would be an interesting person to talk to, just because he does have knowledge. He's just a bit weird. He's kooky. And at this moment in time, he's what I think he's doing is training AI to be good.
Oh, well, I'll give him a second look. I was impressed by him, and he was a little bit off. And I'm not going to judge him just because he was doing these interviews with Jason Goodman. But he seemed to me like a really brilliant guy who had some interesting insights. So thank you for that recommendation.
He's a genius.
Oh yeah, okay, there you go.
Another researcher, Julie Smith, and I are fascinated by Quinn Michaels, but he's just a magnet for CIA operatives, and he's constantly getting harassed by the CIA and every other entity known to man. So, I mean, he's interesting. Whether he moves the ball for our purposes, I doubt. But the guy certainly is a genius, no doubt about it.
He does have all that information or understanding about who owns what. Yeah, and as far as I understand, there's no platform that's not looked at.
Doesn't Zoom belong to the Chinese or something?
Zoom?
I think so.
Zoom?
Yeah.
It's compromised for sure. Zoom.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Quinn Michaels, is this his proprietary database called Crunchbase?
No. This is a web page.
Okay, so this is just something he consults. Quinn Michaels
Yes.
was able to connect the dots, so to speak, the metadata.
Well, he paid to get into the service, and then because he's a genius, he could very easily connect the dots.
Okay. Well, it's a good lead.
Mm.
Well, perhaps I should reach out to him and see if he'll sit for an interview with me, so I can just get some background on him. Just
That would be
biographical
wonderful.
information is
Yeah,
important. We know he's a brilliant individual, but how he came to be Quinn Michaels is really of interest to me, and also will keep him off the radar from the people who are looking at the hard information. I want the soft information, the cultural.
He'd be a great guy to talk to. He claims he's a descendant of the Romanovs.
Yeah.
I kind of believe him, just because I've watched. He's got a YouTube channel, and he will live stream a lot throughout the week. So a guy like that's, and he's being harassed by DeBecker, who's the Los Angeles enforcer for the Hollywood stars, and if you ask me, British intelligence agent going back 2 or 3 generations, which is my particular area of interest and expertise. Just since following George, basically, since I started following George, I started trying to figure out what he's talking about. So everybody he talked about, I went into Ancestry and just started their family tree. So this is 3 years ago. So now I've got about 10,000 people in this database, and it makes it really a lot easier to see connections between these people. And there's a lot of them that you can just trace back to Great Britain, which was kind of a shock to me.
Now, could you spell that name, Greg DeBecker? That's a name new to me.
Gavin DeBecker, Gavin, last name DE, capital BECKER.
Mm-hmm.
And he does all of the security for, or not all, but he's the big man in Hollywood in terms of security for stars. He's security for Bezos. His father was in the arts, either as a dancer or ballet, or going back in the 1940s, 50s. This is the other area I have interest in, is showbiz, and I can point to a lot of crossover between British Spies and Hollywood. It's fascinating to me. But he's really well known.
Okay.
Julie Smith, she's one of the researchers. I work with her and 3 or 4 others with Mark Kulak on his show, and she has a real interest in DeBecker because she lives in the LA area, and she's been doing this longer than I have. So she really knows her stuff, especially when it comes to weapons, or the military industrial complex, and what they do, and where they build stuff. And she's just a great wealth of knowledge. She's been doing this for 10 or 20 years. And she's fascinated by Quinn Michaels as well.
Okay. Well, this is important information because, as you know, I'm interested in the popular culture in Hollywood, in specific in the movies. And I did give a little bit of a spiel on this book called The British Raj in Hollywood. And these were all British actors and producers and directors before World War II, during the interwar period, that settled there.
Yeah,
So,
I found that fascinating.
oh, you
And
saw that.
yeah, and I would encourage you, if you got any names, just email me their name and rough birth date, and I'll track it down and see if there's any connections. So that's what I love doing.
All right. Well, this has been a really super productive meeting, and we're getting towards the 90-minute mark here. So I'm going to be, just for your information, holding these monthly, maybe even more often, depending on demand, especially during this crisis time. And by these, I mean these live chats through Zoom, inadequate as it is. But we'll go on the regular schedule starting next month, February, the first Wednesday of the month, each month, just so people, it'll be easier to do it. This is just a trial
Cool.
run. I wanted to get it going as soon as possible, so it's out of that sequence. But we're going to do it again on Wednesday, because I'm doing the Tuesday, Thursday shows. And then Wednesday is the middle of the week, and we'll do these live chats. And please encourage other people to bring in, because, man, just in this short time, we've found out we're neighbors. We live in the same country from different countries. And we have all these very similar interests and cross-hatching, and there's all these different connections. That's the whole meta process, right? That's the web process.
That's the web. Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that happy and positive note.
Sorry, Professor,
No,
can I
please.
just say, I found the name. So Ronald S. Lauder is the connection to Kolomoisky. And what's interesting is that all my windows that I was looking at, they're all closed. They've all been closed. Anyway, he is like the president of the Jewish Society, and he's a big somebody, this Ronald S. Lauder.
You know who I think he's related to? The
Estee Lauder.
Oh, he
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
He is. Yes, I just got there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this paper that I've sent you, Greg, you can have a look. There's quite a lot of information on there, but I don't know what's important and what's not.
Well,
I've actually
Jake,
Hello, is that Myron? Any other concluding
Yeah.
comments? Or it says-
Hey, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you going to discuss that article that you sent us in Patreon about the chips that they were working on at MIT?
Okay, say it again.
Or you just said it? Well, you sent us an article. Sorry if there's a lot of noise. I'm in my truck on the way home now. But,
Okay.
you sent us an article on Patreon. I was wondering if you were going to discuss that.
Discuss, you mean the which one is that? The most recent one?
The one about the chip being implanted in the skin.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
I didn't know the research had gone that far. You know?
Oh yes.
It seemed like they got it ready. You know?
In a nutshell, the vaccine regimen that's being put out now, it's not about COVID. It's about that's the end game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and also there's articles saying that Bill Gates wants to use the vaccine as a means to automate Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. This might be interesting to Greg, to automate cryptocurrency harvesting while we're just doing our everyday living. We'll be miners. M-I-N.
Right. I think Paul Cottrell talked about this a year ago. Where we would be the how do they, because you know Bitcoin works by verifying tasks or stuff like that, and we would be the power source instead of all all the GPUs. They would use us, you know what I'm saying, to verify the transaction, which I think is absolutely crazy.
And that research article.
I like cash.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the research article I sent is done by MIT, that academic article. And that's really the foundational article. That's really kind of lays it out, the whole theory and the practice of it. And then, of course, people like your Bill Gates are going to implement it, right? But it's MIT, which is also a CIA research.
Tyrone, the patent number is 666.
Oh,
So
no.
if yeah, so if you look at the patents, Microsoft and Google own the patents.
Yes.
Quite scary.
Also,
Well, I'm not scared of the number 666. It's just a number, but I understand what it means to them. You know, in China, 666 is lucky. You know, they say that when it's, you know, but that's just them. But I understand.
okay.
Do you know what I found really scary was I was catching up on your videos, Professor, just before we came on.
Oh, excellent.
And you were talking about a film from 1960 something, where the United States was taken over by England on the 20th of January, 2021.
Oh my gosh.
You said that.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot the date of the takeover date, but that was and this is a question that I have for Greg. We'll talk, you know, separately, but that has to do with the films that Michael Caine has consistently starred in, with the Harry Palmer series, Len Dayton, because I think I was talking about spy fiction, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
all these little crypto. Well, you know, our friend on Jason Goodman talks about steganography, all these secret messages that are communicated to one another through these movies or music and whatever. But yeah, that's Michael Caine. Michael Caine is one of the contemporary people who've really got me interested as being the face for this neo-British Raj takeover, which we saw consummated today.
Yeah. I would argue this goes back to the 1800s in the theater. And then, I mean, even early stars like Gloria Swanson, it all the way through. So a lot of the names you mentioned, I would concur in, but I keep finding new stuff every week in this area as just as a byproduct of what we're doing with Kulak and whatnot. And he thinks I'm kind of crazy. All roads lead back to Britain, but it's the metadata is telling me that. This wasn't my preset theory. I would have argued against it 3 years ago, but you see enough records and you can trace them back and possibly changed identities and rinses. This is what's happened, and
and then
it's really ingenious.
Independently, John O'Loughlin has been heading in that trajectory as well through the LaRouche PAC organization, who've been writing about this for decades. And now it's come into focus. Now I understand what they were talking about all these years.
Absolutely. To me, that was just verification of when John started bringing up them, who I wasn't aware of, and started reading some of those articles. It's like, oh, I'm on the right track, because this is exactly, they know way more than I do, but I've already come to this conclusion just through my own research. And here's the verification, and it's a great resource for me just to pursue it.
Excellent.
Can I just say one final thing, please?
Please, Jane, be my guest.
Ollie Damgard. Does anyone know who he is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good, too.
So I'm very frightened that they're taking this is just a way to catch all the troublemakers like us.
Oh.
Like they did in Iran. You know, his first book was when he was a late teenager. He went off to Iran and he witnessed the middle class being taken out.
I didn't know that.
I can't remember the name of his book. I read it. It was good. But I'm wondering, is that what they're doing? Just catching us chatting?
It's possible. Wasn't his first book about the assassination of Olof Palme? Olof, you know, the Prime Minister of Sweden?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good book. I mean, I bought it then he started, see, what really raised a question mark in my mind is that he has all this synthesized expertise drawn from existing researchers, but it's always about the US only. After he did that Palm book, he never talks about Sweden. And
Yeah, I think he's been compromised.
oh, okay, because
I don't know, eh?
yeah, because there's a lot of you know, compromisable type activity in Sweden, which for us in America or in the West, we view that as a socialist paradise where the equality reigns, but it's actually run by very similar sources as the U.S., the Fourth Reich. And this is what the writer who did the woman that kicked over the hornet's nest, Stieg Larsson, the popular writer. Maybe I should do a whole talk on Stieg Larsson. He was assassinated at he had a heart attack at age 50. But Damagard doesn't talk about situations like it's always about the Kennedy assassination or something in America.
Yeah, I have my doubts about him.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
He's friendly with Jason as well. You have to be careful with anyone that's friendly with Jason.
Okay.
Charles Artel is wonderful, though.
All right.
I like him, and I don't understand. For me, he's compromised because he's with Jason.
You're talking about who now?
Charles Artel.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I find him a brilliant individual. And I learned stuff, you know, about the principles of steganography, like I mentioned before. He's always talking about that. But could he be like that, the other individual who had a relationship with Jason, Quinn Michaels? You know, he's brilliant, but he has his connect.
Yeah.
And remember, our friend George Webb was also.
Well, yeah. And George, I think George is the one that put Charles in contact with Jason. So he just kept going in that direction because they were both in New York and he talked with the same accent, you know.
I see.
I think Charles is totally legit.
Yeah.
It's just, he needed a platform to get his message out. I think Jason's been trying to get him behind a paywall forever, and he won't do it. And good for him. You know. So,
well,
Doctor, can I?
Please, Greg, is that you?
No, it's Aaron.
This is Aaron here.
Oh, Aaron. Okay.
I've been here listening. Sorry, I've got the 4 kids running around the house screaming. I've been on mute the whole time. But as we wind up, a few things I was going to throw into office hours here before the end. One was Ronald Lauder. Yes, is a very important person. The World Jewish Congress. Yes. You could check the World Jewish Congress channel on YouTube, and you'd find him there doing all sorts of stuff.
Did you hear that, Aaron? He's connected to Kolomoisky.
Sure, yeah, he is. Absolutely, yes. I mean, they're all part of what I think is. So, like, even if you go back to the origins of, I don't want to get too far into it, or maybe you guys don't, like, the origins of the Jewish state is this Theodor Herzl, you know, who started the Jewish state with his pamphlet many years before Israel. And it really was more a commodities company. You know, it's like they started really a commodities exchange company that the state of Israel was managed through there, you know. And so that's why all these guys, yes, are very connected. But Ronald Lauder, yeah, ding, 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 definitely. You can find lots of him talking at the World Jewish Congress YouTube channel, which is quite interesting. Another thing I wanted to mention about LaRouche, just, you know, for all of us who might be on the inside or whatever, this isn't really a secret or house cleaning. It's just sort of for mature persons to know about. I recently was told about a divorce, you might say, in the LaRouche party that probably you guys aren't aware of. Does anybody know about this?
No.
Nope.
Yeah,
I've heard of it. They were changing their names and everything.
Like the LaRouche Europe and LaRouche America are in a LaRouche civil war.
Oh, that's a shame.
Which is like, I don't know the details, and I don't know if you guys saw some of the LaRouche friends that we have here in Michigan who I kind of knew cordially. And then when John started doing his shows with Harley Schlanger, I reached out to them a little more and, was trying to do a little kumbaya. But I guess they've had their own fracturing over Trump and everything else. And their whole like Europe contingent, which contains the widow of Mr. LaRouche, has started throwing allegations at the American contingent, I guess, and they've caused, now they have two different PACs or two different organizations. So just, as the world falls around us, I've thought like, yeah, maybe our group could help bring the LaRouche people back together, because like differences are stupid, just like everybody's differences are stupid, but they have real consequences. And these lovely people who had a great mobilized thing are, now mired in infighting, as so many other things are, and it's unfortunate, but they wasn't a secret, they wanted people to know just so that we're all not trying to, get in their crap, but it is what it is.
Now, Aaron,
and the last thing, Doctor, yeah.
No, briefly, where does Harley Schlanger fall into this schism? Because he's an American that lives in Germany.
Right, I know. I don't really know. I know a big part of it was, I guess he's on the Europe side.
Okay.
I guess, and if you even notice, I think, they did call themselves, originally they were calling themselves the LaRouche PAC, and now they're calling themselves the LaRouche Organization. There's a slight name change in there, and I don't know that it's entirely America or Germany. And honestly, I told them, I was like, that sounds stupid. I don't care. And they were like, yeah, you're right. It is stupid. You shouldn't care. And I was like, you guys are great. You've had great publications. Harley's great. You guys are great. There's no way anybody on the McDuff channel audience is going to give a shit about your differences. So, and she was like, that's fine. She was more just like, in case you see LaRouche people slinging arrows at one another and you're confused, it's just like George and Jason. It's just another example of people who should all be.
That.
No, it's not like Jason, I don't know what it's like.
Yeah, no, Jason really is a he's a baddie, Jason. I'm sure he is.
Sure, yeah, maybe it's not like George and Jason, but it's just many examples of this. But and anyway, the last thing, Dr. Hamamoto, I was thinking, a show, maybe not as simple as our George Webb show, but I was thinking, for you and the content that and everything that you do. I would be happy to lend my children to a YouTube video with you where you guys could open toys and go through Legos and things like that together. And I'll bet you'd get 5 million views because I turn on these little Lego and doll videos for the kids and they've got more views than everything George Webb's ever done combined, So it's we could have you on there with my kids opening Lego boxes and analyzing it with a critical analysis, and it might be the most, it'd go viral, for all audiences. So
if you want
to do that one, let me know.
No, yeah, I'm open to it. We can do it on your channel or whatever platform you like. Even
I know the kids would have fun and they'd find you interesting and everything. So.
Oh man!
And my kids love Legos. We do Legos all the time, and now when they open Legos, I'm like, man, if only Dr. Hamamoto could be here to, analyze this set of Legos and what the hell, the policeman Legos or the spaceship Legos or the jungle Legos or just whatever it is. We could do a weekly Lego box show or something. with kids, for young audiences, we could think about that. That'd be fun. But anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to go back on mute here.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye, Aaron.
And any closing comments for now?
Maeve, I'm Jane Marvin in Signal.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can get me there.
And Scottish Femme also.
Yeah, but on the phone, the new app, the Signal app.
Okay. So and my name is, you'll find me. My name is Lisa, actually. So I call myself Mevo because in France, everyone is scandalized and everyone wants to avoid scandal. And I have to be very discreet because I have children, grown children, and I don't want to put them in an uncomfortable situation. So I have a name.
Greg or Tyrone or Ann Tyrone, any closing comments or observations or suggestions?
I just want to say you're my favorite professor.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Sure, I really do.
I really enjoyed the call too, and enjoy your work.
Okay, let's meet again next
you so
month.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sounds
All
good.
right, I'll say
Ciao.
goodbye for now. Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.